Hey, welcome back to the Aikido Virtual Dojo channel. And today we're going to be looking at the technique Ushiro, ryote-dori, ikkyo. And Ushiro is a technique from behind. So our attacker will be starting from behind us. And ryote-dori is when the grabber or the attacker grabs two hands or the two wrists, basically securing the person either for a second person to attack or just for a particular control. And today we're going to be explaining the version urawaza. Take a look at the footwork for Ushiro, ryote-dori, ikkyo, urawaza. So we begin by a slide step back, sinking into feet. We're going to pivot in place, turning towards our partner. Then we're going to sink, and our front foot is going to adjust, moving towards the back foot of our partner, getting ready to move behind our partner as we grab the elbow for the ikkyo. Then we're going to turn in a tenkan, and afterwards then we can sink down into the pen or the immobilization for ikkyo.
We begin this technique with a grab from behind with a Ushiro ryote-dori attack. So Durward is holding my both wrists. I like to keep my hands next to my hips, not really behind the body, because here it could be difficult for me to do the technique. Durward could block me. And our feet are aligned on the same side, so when I have my right foot in back, Durward will have his right foot in front. This is just a bit stronger for him, and he has a better control of my body. Now from here, the first movement I will slide back. So, since I cannot force the movement here with my wrist if he's strong, but I can slide back and move my body behind the wrist and closer to Durward. I bring my fingers together, which will bring his elbows slightly up, outside, and then I will turn my wrist to lift his elbows up. Let's have a more detailed look at the movement of the wrist here and turning of the hands. Actually, when I get closer and I bring my fingers together, Durward has already some difficulties holding my wrist, so I can easily turn my wrist and move his arms, his elbows. The way I do it is, I like to imagine that I'm holding a ball in my hands, and I want to move my hands around the ball to get to the top of the ball. Okay, and this movement just lifts Durward's elbows up, which will then allow me to turn, and this will create the space where I will be able to move out. So from this position here, as I start turning my wrist, as explained just before, at the same time I start turning my body, and I will start this movement from my foot. So actually I will create a kind of spiral movement starting from my foot, knee, hips, and at the same time turning the wrists. So foot, knee, hips, I drop down a little bit, and this will allow me to move my body out of this space between Durward's arms, but I still want to keep a feeling forward with my hands. I want to feel in the space and keep Durward engaged. If I don't do this, if I just move out without keeping my hands forward, Durward can come back at me, and this movement here is actually keeping the space full here prevents it actually. So for the ura waza variant here, as I want to grab the ikkyo, I need actually to grab Durward's wrist with my left hand in this position and his elbow with my right hand. If I try to lift my right hand to grab his elbow, he can actually hold me down, and it's very difficult for me, so it's not the best way of doing it. What I will do is I will drop down my body and drop down my other hand with it so that the elbow gets closer. And as I do this movement, as I drop down my body, I will also at the same time move my front foot, which is closer to Durward, next to his back foot, which will actually prepare me for this ura waza turn with the ikkyo. So I move my foot, I drop down, take over the elbow, and from here I can go around his wrist to grab the wrist for the ikkyo. So once we've done all the steps of the techniques that I just explained before, we get into this moment here. We take over the ikkyo grab, and from this position now I want to move behind Durward. Actually, I don't want to pull him in front of me here because he can resist, or it's very difficult to do. I imagine that I want to turn in a way that I would like to touch with my back Durward's back. And this way, as I turn around, I keep the feeling forward with my hands, going back with my body, and opening the space into which Durward will fall. And then I move down and finish with the immobilization. And if you'd like to see more details and more explanations about the ikkyo spiral movement, taking down the uke and the immobilization at the end, we covered it more in detail than here in our earlier videos, and you can find the links to these videos in the description just below. If you like our video, give us a thumb up and share it with your friends. You can also subscribe to receive notifications about new videos being published. More information is available in the channel description as well as through the links section.